Okay, guys and gals, I'm just doing a install of the center bezel, 72 Mustang convertible. They're all pretty much the same, 71 to 73, I believe, but this is for 72. Um, this is aftermarket bezel, obviously, and so I just wanted to show you a few things that you really need to look for when doing this. On the air conditioning outlets, the posts look to be a little bit short, and so it really puts these tabs in tension. So I had to use a couple of washers to shim them up so those wouldn't be in tension on these two bolts. Now if you've got the center instruments, this has been into before and they just broke it up. It's all very, very old plastic. You can see where I had to tape the bulb in. That was all cracked out. These two top tabs bolt in were broken off, so I had to make little shims. I made them out of brass and with a couple of washers, because you don't want these tension on that, so I've got the couple of washers on that. Now on the bottom, it's kind of hard to see. I'll show you a picture if I can get down in there. I don't think you can really see it. Maybe let's see if we can get down here. You can barely see them, but the stems for the screws are too short to fit this again also. So I used aluminum tubing, and I had to make a couple of shims to bring it up so I could tighten down these bolts. You can kind of see it there. You can see the aluminum shim if it focus there. And this tab's cracked. Be careful of that. This one was all broken to pieces, so I had to literally plastic bond this all together. I use the JB Weld plastic bond. That stuff's just amazing. It sticks to everything. So I had the piece and it broke off, and so I just channeled it out and made some undercuts and then glued it all together with the bond there. So that's what I have to do to get that instrument cluster in. And one other thing here is when you remove, I know my bench is a mess, when you remove the this front bezel, you really can't see these two bolt holes underneath. And so if you don't take those out, on my old one, you just break this whole plastic shelf off. So just be very careful of that. Remember that you have those two bolts hiding way underneath.
Quick addendum to installing the new center console bezel. One thing I didn't realize that happened was when I was trying to remove this bezel, I did not know, in the other part of the video, I did not know of these two screws back here. And when I was just moving it around, the plastic was so old, this whole piece broke off. And when that did, I was able to remove the bezel. The heater control came right through the hole there. When I was working on looking at how to reinstall everything, I found out that that won't work with a complete bezel. The reason for that is one of Ford's better ideas. You can see they've got these two alignment pins that go on the plastic down here. So obviously this has to go in from the front and come out from the front. So mine didn't do that because it was broken. So when you're removing your bezel or replacing it, what basically you have to do is you have to get behind the unit here. There is a plug here that just basically pulls off. There are two electrical connections here that you have to pull off. And then there's a vacuum block, which is you have to pull off here. And the last thing is the heater control cable here. I just have this on. I moved this around a bit trying to figure out how it came out, and I actually broke it. I repaired it, but I'll probably be ordering a new one. But I repaired it for now because I need to get my dash together to do some other things for the car. But when you're removing your bezel here, just basically unplug that, these plugs, the vacuum port here, and if you look, you'll be able to see if you when you remove the or look underneath the glove compartment, this cable goes right to the front of the box, the heater core box, and there's just a little clamp, 1-bolt clamp. Do that to release this cable, and that way this whole unit just can come right out the front. And once you've done that, you've got your whole unit to pull out. When you're putting it back together, obviously this is hard to get to because it's in the very back, so bolt that up, make sure this is connected to that. Like I said, this isn't installed yet. This is connected to that, and then basically all you have to do is just kind of feed the cable through there, be careful, and then wiggle it around a little bit, and this part will just slip right back in there, and then you can put your 4 hold down screws in, and just the big plate that goes over here with the radio and everything is going to cover all this stuff up. So that's one thing I missed. It would have probably made it easier if I'd known that, to go ahead and just disconnect this. I didn't think I had to, and get that out of the way when you're doing the rest of the install of the blower motor. So that's a little addendum to that, which I just found out yesterday. So hopefully that's going to help with all this fun stuff. And we'll just put this here, and that's about it for that section.
Okay, guys and gals, I looked all over YouTube. I couldn't find anything specific to what I wanted to do, which is replace the blower motor, which when I bought this car, you turn it on and it squealed like a piggy, a very, very loud piggy, because it was literally a bucket of rust, as you can see inside there. Here's the old one. But I couldn't find any videos on actually how to replace this guy. And it ends up being a pain in the ass, really. But I'm already got it in. I didn't have time to videotape it all, so I'm just going to kind of verbally go through everything. If you look way back there, the light's shining right on the brand new blower. You can see it's got 2 wires coming out. One goes up to this plug-in up top, and the other one's a ground, which they had a separate ground. Somebody's been in here, just made a mess of things. So, but one's power and one's ground. The big thing you have to look out for is it seems that they rotate in different directions between the air-conditioned models and the other models. And so mine was air-conditioned, so my blower turned counterclockwise with the shaft facing you. And so make sure you check that with your battery or 12 volts when you get the cage on there. Hit it, keep your fingers out of it, it'll hurt, but make sure the fan is blowing out. If not, you need to switch the wires so everything is blowing out from your blower assembly there. So we've got that going now. You can see there's four bolts holding them in, which is a really hassle to get to, and that's why I basically had to take the whole dash apart. The flat part on mine went on the very top. It's kind of hard to tell when you pull it out because it comes out through the bottom right in front of the gas pedal there. So just remember, the flat part goes towards the top. Literally, you just have to you have to get the center console bezel off. You have to get the instrument bezel off, the instruments out. I had to pull the dash out. Also this tube here. which connects to the outlet over here. So, and this just pulled out, so that'll push back in. But I had to pull that out to get to it. You got to get through the top and the side and the bottom. It just, I had to pull the this out also, just to be able to get to everything. So it's all fun and games from here. I don't know what else to tell you, except if you've got a tack, here's your plug-in for your tack. This is a plug-in for your instrument panel. Now be very careful with our Ford instrument panels, because I'll show you here if you've never seen one. They've got these crazy, they're trying to save some money and wire and stuff, so they just have these flat wiring diagrams basically. The problem is these being old and going through so many heat cycles and things. Let me see if I can get this to stay up, which I can't. Okay, all right, I'll just do it this way. Sometimes you have to be very careful. This is very thin copper, so be very careful pulling that plug in and out. And I even had some of these copper pieces come loose from the plastic backing, so I was very careful to use just tiny little drops of super glue on the back side and pressed them on and let them set to make sure they stayed straight and the super glue didn't get on the front, which would probably stop the connection. So be careful of that. And anywhere on this plastic, it's kind of a pain. And you can see here with the speedometer, it's got a little groove there that this plastic part fits in. So make sure you get that on and clicked in properly. To remove it, you can see you just push in from the other side and the locking tab comes out from that side. You can see that. So that's how you disconnect it. It's kind of hard. You just kind of have to slide your hand in there. And if you got big giant hands, you got problems. One other thing to getting the, I had to do to get the blower motor out was, let's see, the heat splitter. You can see down here, that's a passenger side, and somewhere in there is it comes out over here too, driver's side. Now that connects to the box. It's kind of hard to tell, but there's a, I'm pointing at it, there's a spring clip there. Just pull that back and out, and there's a spring clip on the other side which you can't see. Pull that back and out, and then this part will slide down, and then you have to really finagle it over to get this outlet on the driver's side out of the way for this hole to get the blower motor out with the cage on it, because it's just a pain in the ass to do. So make sure you finagle that out. There's no way to get it in or out with it in place, or at least I couldn't do it. So then get that pushed over out of place. Make sure when you put everything back together, you can see they did some jack wiring here. I don't know what in the world's going on, but make sure these all your vacuum hoses tend to come off pretty easy. Make sure your block's connected, all your wires are connected, and all your vacuum lines. And that's basically it for that. To get your instrument panel out, it's pretty self-explanatory. You've got 4 bolts or screws, whatever they have, 1, 2, 3, and 4 to get the instruments out. After you get the bezel out, again, you've got to pop your speedometer cable. This plug-in, you just, on the top and bottom, you just squeeze, and you can see where it just moves, clips in and out to get that out, and then unplug this if you have a tack. So that's that. I've got another video on the center bezel, which I couldn't find on how to remove that either. The old one was broken anyway, and I broke it worse because there was a couple of hidden bolts. But if you look the other part of the video on that part, it shows where the hidden bolts are as far as all that fun stuff goes. So I hope this helps you guys out a little bit on all this fun stuff. As far as the top dash goes on the 72s, it's pretty simple. You've got a few screws in the front holding it in. There's little clips on the metal part in the back that goes, there's three clips. One goes there, one goes in the center, one goes there. I'm going to put some cloth tape there. I had some awful kind of loud squeak in the dash. I don't know if that was it or not. So I'm going to put a little bit of tape around this, so that might be a little bit tighter and it's not metal on metal. But so I know it's kind of long, but there's a lot of little stupid stuff you have to deal with. And as you can see, somebody cut a lot of the light wires out for some reason. Just they threw this thing together, which is too bad. But that's how it goes sometimes. So I hope this helps out somebody, and I'll put all the little pieces of the video and the pictures together and what I had to do to get this stuff out, and hope it helps somebody. So everybody have a good one. See ya.